Today in the shop, I tried to show all of the tools, the hand tools. I call some of them polywogs and tadpoles, but some of the other tools that go onto the Dremel tool and onto the drill that can make this job of removing a powder coat and getting a very smooth etched surface onto the wheel. We're moving right along on this project. I'm trying to do about 4 hours a day, but of course there's always the unexpected and there's always family things that take priority. But when this wheel is done, the main priority of everything when you do this kind of work is at the end of it, I want something that's a keeper and something, in the case of the MT09, that'll be like a piece of jewelry to add to the motorcycle. Now, the nicest thing about doing restorations in the winter is every day is unpredictable. It couldn't be any more unpredictable than this. We have had such good luck with the MT09. We got to ride 10,000 miles all summer, beautiful, beautiful weather, and beautiful fall, and then some extra weather where we normally wouldn't be riding. And I scheduled, and it's luck, believe me, there's no skill involved, none, that all of the painting I did, I managed to sandwich in between days that were paintable, in between rain and this and that, and winds blowing, and got to the point of where we're ready to do the wheels. And I anticipated, in my mind, I said, you know what will happen if I get the wheels off the bike and I'm starting to work on them and we get snowed in? It won't be a big deal, because basically 99% of that work is going to be downstairs in a nice warm cellar. But as you can imagine, they said it was going to be big snow tonight, and got up this morning, we already got snow. And all the sequencing on this MT09 project, and if you look back at the day I bought the bike, and now I think it's a whole different bike. Maybe some of my friends agree, I'm sure some don't, but... And just like the R1, you tailor a bike, you customize it, you paint it, you do, in the case of the R1, silver wheels, among other things. You get the bike ergonomics to fit, and you do it to please yourself, really. Now, all of the wheels videos, every one of them is very different. In fact, this bike has 2 sets of painted wheels. But every one of them, as I look back and think back, most of them were done when there was snow on the ground. And this was one of the ones I mixed custom paint for. And this was just a labor of love, 600-hour restoration. But my feeling is always, with any project I work on, #1 job of a motorcyclist, any day you can ride is to get a ride in, because they are limited in this part of the country, and obviously today, we're going to be riding our snowblower maybe sometime today. And one of the things I want to show, some of the tools you can use, and they're relatively inexpensive, that you can use to do a custom wheel project. You do need a couple of specialized tools. I'm going to show them on this video. But every one of our custom wheel projects is different. There's never been, even for the same bike, never been 2 the same. And every one of them is out on my channel. In total, I hopefully have not left out a step. That's always my goal. And I post something up every day. And some people don't work on motorcycles or ride 7 days a week, but I do. And that's the life I share with you now. So we still have a lot of ice to chop on the pond. It's still snowing just a bit. Not a lot, but we got the snowblower previously ready. And we don't know where this day is going to go, but most of it I'm going to be inside. And one quick story to start the day on a positive note. Karen bought me the RD, I think 7 or 8 years ago, for a Valentine's Day present. And this is what I bought her. And she treasures it. We hang it up every year around Valentine. But it reminds me of the RD. I ought to put a little picture of an RD down under here. True story, can't make it up. And Karen usually has a few things for me to do before I get started on my wheels. Let's see what they are. But the first thing is coffee. So we got a couple of quick errands. Karen wants me to take care of them before the big snow comes. This is funny. Tomorrow we're having waffles for breakfast, and without this milk we're not having waffles. Very important. So we're over at the kids' house to see if maybe they're not even working today. I don't know. Look at this. They're making a big tent. You believe that? How cool is that? Nice. This is why I do all my restorations in the winter. Oh, wow. Where are the giraffes?
We need to make it happen.
Wow. I am impressed. Wow.
I need to make it happen.
No wonder you got rich and I didn't. That really is pretty impressive though. And you got that can where you hide all the beer bottles, or you let Elvis just leave them out here.
Today is Friday.
Today's Friday, beer day. That's great, man. That's looking good. Oh,
Today's Monday.
Today's Monday, Friday. Oh, this brings back the memories of John DeTavio and George Venturini. Wow. And all my new motorcycles are gonna go right in there. Oy, oy, oy. So this is gonna have a big ceiling here. This is gonna be the kitchen and a family room. Wow. And plenty of room for those giraffes right in the middle. We're gonna get home before the real snow gets here. Get down in that cellar. So I got a few hours, work on that wheel, show some of the tools, and then Miles has to go for his swim lesson today. I don't know if they're gonna have it today. Oh, I can see we already got a slippery, dicey driveway. Oh my God. I thought the birds were gonna help with the construction work, but I don't know. He's got a big tent going on over there, Care.
You made a tent?
He made a big tent again. One more cup of coffee and I'm ready to grind. Get back to the grind. So my goal in the shop today is to try to show some of the tools I use on sanding a very, very complex part like this. This is a part that has all angles, edges, curves, and the one thing you can't do, there's one thing that a lot of people that may be new to this kind of work think you can do, but you can't. You just can't take your hand and a piece of sandpaper and sand, because what you wind up with is all, you never get that nice flat like the facet of a diamond. And one thing, when I go for a ride, I always try to take a little video of the bike coming out of the garage where the sun can shine on the wheels so I can see that sparkle on the wheels as it comes out of the garage. But anyway, just something I like. And we got all this done yesterday. Well, we're actually in pretty good shape. But I want to show some very simple sanding tools that'll make this job just a little bit easier. It's a complex job. You don't have to figure ways to make it harder. Now, some people call these tadpoles. Some people call them polywogs. You can buy them in any body shop supply. They're basically very hard rubber, like a tire would be made out of. And you see the shape. Now, what's important about this to know is that shape is what you're looking for. Now, some of these I've modified. This shape would be for a bigger diameter curve. This will be using this shape. Let's see if we can get it on the camera. A little bit difficult here. Some of these I've had to modify them. I've changed the radius with a Dremel tool because I wanted to make it for a different job. A lot of these, this one here for instance, I've used in modeling and they work great. You really can't sand these shapes that I want to sand into this wheel by hand. And most of the work, a good part of it anyway, is sanding by hand. There's really just a limited amount of stuff you can do. Your hand can sand a certain amount of stuff, but to get a really nice flat surface, you need sanding tools. And these are great. If I remember right, it was less than $5 for a whole set of them. Now, I showed these yesterday. These are called Mandrel Tools. And what this is, it's removable sandpaper. This sandpaper comes right off. And you just twist it and it comes off. To show this, there's a little thread on the back of it. And that's how that works. So you would just, when you get to this point, this one we used yesterday, it's worn out, we'll put a new one on today. These are Mandrel Tools. There's a big one. They're all from Harbor Freight. Same thing with the little one. This one has it looks like 3M pad, but very rough. It's actually some kind of composite. But this works with aluminum very well. Works to get paint off too in a lot of ways. And it comes in all different grits. The blue is usually one of the fine ones. This I think is 100 grit. Yes it is. But the point is, if you want to do this job, a custom set of wheels, without the tools, yeah, I probably could do it, but boy is it going to be a lot more work than if you invest, let's say the total amount of tools you need is going to be under $50. And then you can do this for the rest of your life. And this is something I put on a lot of the videos. This is a small, I call it a fake Dremel tool. This was about $15. In the days when you used to have a coupon, you could get it even cheaper from Harbor Freight. Super, super handy. Now, that's useful for getting in small edges. There's all kind of little rotary cutters and rotary things, but the thing I found that works great, and I found this on Amazon, these bags of 100, now we're going to be using a lot of these. So if you were to buy the Dremel tools, and these can really get pricey after a while. These are not quite as good. No kidding around, but they're, for what we're doing, they're really good. Now when it comes time to the final grinding, they come all different diameters. We're going to be able to get in all these little nooks and crannies. See, I wanted to show the tools up front because I'm going to be using them in the course of working today and probably the next couple days to get this wheel prepped up for paint. And because we're in a situation where we're probably going to be snowed in, these worked real good. This whole thing, well, everything in this bucket was less than $30. So what I'm suggesting is when you want to have some kind of a very complex part to sand, to detail, these tools make your life easier, and they make it that you can actually do the job in a reasonable amount of time. So it's really, this bucket is a good investment. If I were to try to do the work that this bucket of tools will do by hand, first of all, you can't do it. Second of all, it'd take you 100 times more time. The job wouldn't be quite as nice. You'd be frustrated at the end. And then, so what I'm saying is I'm trying to show the tools that I've used over the years to do many, many custom wheels. And the most generic of all the tools, this you can buy from a body shop supply. You put your fingers in there for sanding the hood of a car, big flat areas on gas tanks, fenders, side covers. Super handy. It's just, without this tool, it's very hard to get a very smooth surface. This is called a soft block because basically it's a little soft. It'll go around corners. This is a hard block. This you can't, it's made out of tire material. So what happens, the sandpaper snaps in there, and this would be when you want to get a perfectly flat surface before you go to the next coat of paint, or in the case of the hood of a car, something flat. And then there's the ones, and Barb Martin's a super modeler made these. I've got 3 or 4 of them. We use these in modeling, and they work great on motorcycle restorations too. It's just made out of 1/4-inch plywood. It couldn't be any easier, and it's just such a comfortable tool in your hands that I tend to use this a lot more than the bigger blocks because I'm always looking to dig into corners, angles, and edges and things. And when you understand, you just can't. It's just impossible. Your hand cannot get in some of these places. And a good way to think of it is if you're washing your motorcycle and the only thing you had was a pillow instead of a sponge or a rag, you can't get in. The pillow is too big. Just a good analogy. And these tools, you get a lot of high quality work. Again, the whole thing here is probably just a few bucks. So what I wanted to show, the 220 paper we were using yesterday. Now we did the rough paint removal. I want to cut the paper pretty much the length of the block, and this is not critical. It's not like you're doing a machine shop job, but we'll start with 220, probably wind up with something smoother. I want to get the piece as long as I have enough to go around. Now usually in the beginning, the little piece will not want to go down into the polywog the way it should, so you've got to kind of bend it. Let me see if I can show that. Okay. And I want to move this around. Let me just see if I can get this picked. And it doesn't matter which one. We got 10 spokes to do. And we know already nobody's going to do them for us. This will get a real, and you can just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'll do the first one on camera. And we just to show how we're getting that shape. Because I want that, ultimately that shape, I want that light to just go right down. Just like the facet on a diamond. And in the end, you can use all the tools you want, grind, and you can even go get the part sandblasted. I've done that. And that's fine. But you still have to put the etch on it. You still have to get the final, that final etch surface that the primer is going to stick to. So once we see how long it's going to take to do one leg, it's pretty easy. We multiply that by 10, and then we move on to the next step. And again, this is a giant labor of love. And for people that don't want to do this, You know, I don't even know that you can pay people to do this. Somebody in the world advertises this, but I don't. It is truly a labor of love. Hey, one down. It's got the nice radius. I can feel with my hand, it's nice and smooth. And up here, we're going to have to get another tool to do up there. These radiuses here. Usually I would take a glue bottle or something that has that pretty much shape. Because the rest of this is just going to be a ton of hand labor. And you can just picture doing this job without the correct tool or trying to do it by hand, and I'm sure some people have. How much extra work it would be when you have those polywogs and they can put that shape in relatively quick. The job really does go a lot faster. So this is a roll of sticky back paper, which from time to time gets bigger and smaller, but it just happens to be. And I just was looking around for an epoxy jar or something that was the right diameter. And I can take a piece of my 220 sandpaper, roll it up on there, and this now becomes a sanding tool. Now, in this case, where these end is exactly the right diameter. So just by having this tool, my finger could not go in there and become the right diameter. So I would just be making ripples on a brook. Now this is going to allow me to get down in there very, very conveniently. It just happens. This is the right size. And as the sandpaper wears out, if it does, I just can just peel some off or just replace the whole sandpaper. Anyway, this is now I can just connect the dots, and little by little by little, we're working on these legs, and it's a super labor of love to do this. But boy, when you're done, it's just a wonderful, to me, it's a wonderful thing that you can have something that basically nobody else is going to have, because who else is going to do all this work? Now we have this area and this area, but in here, and especially up here, I want to get that smooth. And in here, I can get this by hand, but I'll show a little tool that works pretty well. I can get 90% of it, and then the final little bit I have to do by hand. But it'll just make this a little bit easier. I can get one of these sections done, and then I'll just show the final part of it. I'll connect this with the sandpaper. So we have, this is the part. By the way, that's the hardest of everything, is where it's a casting. This is a raw casting. And if you paint over this, what happens, and you want to get it smooth, and I've done this, you put on 4 or 5 coats of filler primer and then you sand it, and then a year later, chunk, and out comes a piece, because the paint gets too thick. And this is the tool that comes in handy. You can use that point. Now, because we're only going to use this point, I can cut little pieces of sandpaper. This piece here, I can cut it up into little pizza pie slices once this little tip wears out. Because I'm not going to be using back here. The only part of this I'm going to be using on this job is right here. And all of these tools, power tools, hand tools, polywogs, sandpaper, the good thing about it is there's not a lot of money involved. It's just a lot of work. Now, it's always in the very end, the last little bit you have to do by hand, and which we will do. But that's one segment. Now, of course, there's 9 more. So, and that's what happens. This just gets where it gets a little redundant, it gets a little boring, and that's why they make coffee. The next thing is using a Dremel tool and a sanding drum. I want to get this edge. I want to get this casting mark where the 2 halves of the mold come together off. So it's one smooth thing. This I want smooth, and get in all these corners, get them smooth. Now I get most of that done with the Dremel tool, and at the end I have to finish it off by hand, of course. Now the Dremel tool with all those little bits and pieces and sanding drums, really, really useful. And getting in all the little nicks and crannies, all little places you never could put a finger. They're just perfect. Now, when I'm doing a job like this, it's a lot of labor, I think of the famous Italian saying that the Italians built things and did things as if time did not exist. As if time did not exist. A good saying. What are you doing?
I just got here.
Hey! Do I get a hug today? You want to work on a wheel?
No.
Yes, you do!
No!
You're dying to work on that wheel. Okay, ready for lunch?
Yeah.
What about, what'd you bring? You bring video games?
No. Or I
No.
took the wrong bag by accident.
No. You know what? If you have a toothache, we could use this. Go, tell Grammy I'm coming right up.
I brought the wrong bag by accident, so I unfortunately didn't bring it.
You didn't bring it?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I packed the wrong bag. I packed in the wrong bag.
tell Grammy I'm coming right up.
Okay.
I guess you can figure out the party's over for today. Anyway, we got a whole lot done here. This is amazing. I'm amazed how much we did get done. But we'll pick this up tomorrow. Well, while we're done here, Grammy's making up a cake, and we're going to go for swimming lessons today, even though it's snowing. You ate all the popcorn. How come you didn't save any for me? What am I supposed to eat now? Nothing, right? I know what you're doing. Online gambling, right? What are you going for, FanDuel here? Oh, man, look at that. The cake is going to be prepared any minute now. Ooh, it's good to be Miles. Miles, didn't you have any cookies today? Can you imagine a life without cookies? And I'm glad I'm a well-trained chef here. Not only can I mix Bondo, but I can mix cake batter. Wow. So when we get back from swimming, this is going to be done, right?
Yes.
Wow. I'm hungry already. You got to put your goggles on first?
I'm going to come off for you.
Okay, you ready?
How much?
I'm ready.
How
One
much?
Pokemon card.
Really?
I'll let you have an extra piece of cake if you do a good salt. Go. This is great. The pool is right across the street from our house at the high school. Couldn't be any more convenient. It's snowing out and Miles is going swimming. And we're going to have cake after the swim lesson. 1, 2, 3, go! Oh, that's... These are the hard dives. So yet another unpredictable day ends. A day in the life, I always think. And, by the way, that cake tasted good. I didn't get a chance to put any of it on video. We'll put some tomorrow while I'm having a snack. The wheels are coming out great. They're actually exceeding what I originally thought was going to happen, because I haven't had these wheels with the discs off them that I could really see. But this set of wheels is going to be beautiful. Now, I've looked at many bikes, many different places and times, and seen what a set of custom wheels or even a set of stock wheels, doesn't even matter. The wheels are such a big part of a motorcycle that when you get it right, it's dramatic. And when you get it wrong, it's even more dramatic sometimes. Now, of course, everything we do and everything in the world that I know of is pretty subjective stuff. So the best set of wheels I remember were on, this is Joe Roselli's MV, and I remember looking at that back wheel while I was following him and seeing the light sparkling off of that back wheel, and I gotta tell you, that was inspirational. It made me want to paint the R1 wheel silver. And another bike, if you see this bike in real life, Vlad has it all carboned up and polished and waxed, and when he pulls in, the wheels are sparkling. And the wheels are such a definitive part of the bike. Now, it's a stock paint job on the wheels, but Vlad's got them polished up like a mirror, I'm sure. And all the carbon parts accent it. All of the things that we're trying to do to the MT09. The very subtle little things and the big things. Now, on a Bimota, you look at a Bimota, this is a very high-end bike. This is Vlad's bike too. I've done some of the work on it. And the wheels, when you look at them real close, you look at them and you think, oh, they're pretty special. Then you look real close and you go, whoa, that's a beautiful set of wheels. Now when I did the 650 wheels, and I did this restoration, was about a 500-hour restoration, I wanted the gold to be every bit as nice as those Bermuda wheels. And I knew I wasn't going to just be able to go to Gavin's and buy that paint. That paint is some special stuff. So what I did, I mixed my own paint using gold pigment. And I think it came out pretty good anyway. And I did all the matching trim. The R1, I wanted those wheels to look like the same as or similar to the ones on Joe Roselli's MV. And when they're in the sun, I don't know, since Joe has moved on to his other MV, I don't remember if the other one has silver wheels too. But these wheels, and I'm trying to catch a shot on it where the sun is shining on it, I really like it. Now, the Suzuki, since I have two sets of wheels, I have a set of gold wheels, I have a set of black wheels now. When it comes time to do the evil twin thing, it'll be a piece of cake one day and we can make it look like a whole different bike. But these wheels, with the red stripe accenting the decals and a perfect match, big thing. This set of wheels was really a labor of love, and this set was one of the ones, they are hand buffed. That thin stripe is not tape, it's paint, among other things. And the fact that they look very, very unique to this bike, it's an important thing. Without those wheels being done, I don't think it'd be the same. If you had flat black wheels that weren't wiped off and all full of grease, somehow it wouldn't be the same bike. But of course, some people, none of this is important. Again, all subjective. Now, whenever we go to one of our meetups, whether it's local or one like the Ruts Hut that's a once a year, or the market, or Perry's, or any of them, and I'm looking at other people's bikes, a lot of times what I see is the bike is perfectly clean, but the wheels look like they haven't been wiped off forever. Now, again, some people like that look. And some people, it's hard to define, but some people like this or that or whatever. And I always think that's what makes motorcycling beautiful. And of course, there's some people I've seen that have the whole bike immaculately clean. Look at this restoration. I don't even know if this is restored. This was at the market one day, and one of the bikes that I've always lusted for to have one of these 4-cylinder 2-strokes. But I looked at it and I looked at it and I looked at it, and look at those wheels. When you have white wheels on a bike and a chain drive and brake dust, it has to mean you really care. And I really care. Well, and it doesn't matter which one of the bikes I'm riding. And I know I've tried to inspire other people to, maybe I've been successful, maybe not, to go that extra little mile. Now, there's a nice clean wheel. Look at that wheel. Anyway, that I kid around about, even on a 2-stroke. Now, it used to be, this is a funny thing, when I had the other set of exhaust pipes on, they used to spit little drops of oil out, and I'd get it on the wheel, and it would make me crazy. And I never figured out exactly what to do about it. I wound up putting little extensions on the exhaust pipes to keep the black wheels clean. And it's just funny that I'm that fanatical, but I am. And when we're riding and it's a beautiful day, the sun is shining, the leaves are all different colors, all your friends are coming to the meetup, you're dying for that bagel or a cup of coffee, and you look out at your bike, you look out the window at your bike, or from the bench you're sitting on, it's a thing of beauty. Now, the MT09 brings us up to where we are now. The MT09, to me, all of the changes I've made, all of the things I've done to it, all combined, that's probably 200 hours of labor, I estimate it is, to bring it to where it is now. But none of it is going to equal when these silver wheels go on the bike. That is going to be the biggest single change that I could make to the bike. And I'm halfway through the front wheel. I know you probably be bored. You're probably bored already, but it is truly a labor of love. So we're going to pick this up tomorrow, and every step of any of the work that I do, I try not to leave out steps. I try to make it fun and entertaining and non-political, and throw in a little family humor now and then, like we had today with Miles's swimming, jumping off the swimming board upside down. Anyway, because motorcycling, in the end of the day, is supposed to be fun. And I can't imagine what bike you ride or where you ride it or how you ride it if you're not having fun, maybe you missed the point. I don't know. But I try to have fun no matter what I do. And I try to share the fun. And the best thing of all is I can share it on YouTube every day when I post my video. So if you enjoyed the video, I hope you share it with your friends. And of course, I hope, most of all, that we'll see you tomorrow. And thanks again for watching.